Welcome to Behind the Business, the podcast where we cut through the noise and get real about running a profitable business. I'm Pamela Hilton, CPA, with over 30 years in accounting, tax, payroll, and business advisory services. Each week, I will share stories from the field, answering real questions from business owners, and give you the straight talk you need to grow and protect your business. No fluff, no hype, just practical advice that works in the real world. So, let's get to it. Welcome back to Behind the Business. I'm Pamela Hilton, CPA, and this podcast is really exciting, and it's the obligatory setting your goals for the new year podcast. But this is something that I do every year. I've done it with my firm, I do it with clients, and it's kind of a wrap up of the previous year and goal setting for the upcoming year, all in one. And if you're a business owner, you should be doing this every single year anyway, because you're wrapping up things for your taxes anyway. Why not go back and look at how things went for the whole year? You're going to be looking at your financials anyway. If you're using accounting software, and you should be if you're a business owner, it's really, really easy to just print out or just, create a profit and loss. We like to do the profit and loss for the whole entire year by month. And if you can, run it, comparatively this year, January this year, January last year. So you have your P&L by month, and then you have it comparative to the previous year. So you can see where we ended up this year versus last year. How much did we grow? How much did we not grow? Where the fluctuations were for the whole year. And if you do it by month, you're going to see little patterns emerge as to which months are better for you than other months, which months are a little slow. And those are the things you need to know to set your goals. You need to know a very detailed information about your business as it is, as the entity that it is, and its personality, so to speak, before you can set goals for the upcoming year, if that makes sense. If you don't know where you've been, there's no way to figure out how you're going to get to where you're going. And the tool that you need for that is that accounting system, that foundation. All of those numbers tell a story, and they are what are going to drive your business, that engine that drives the business to success, to level up. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to run the reports, we're going to look at the numbers, and then we're going to set the goals. And your accounting software, let it do the job that it's supposed to do. And all of these features are already built into a good accounting software. The budgeting, the forecasting, the financial reports, all of that's already there. And we're going to talk about how you can use those to set your goals for the upcoming year. So one thing that we do as a firm is we go back, we reconcile everything, we make sure all the numbers in the right place, that the data is complete, it's got all the information in there before we even get started with analyzing. Because if the numbers aren't all in there, this is really not going to do you any good. You have to make sure that it's complete and accurate. And once we get the numbers complete, the numbers are accurate, these are solid numbers for the previous year, we've run our report by month, our profit and loss by month, and we're seeing, which months needed a little work and needed a little beefing up, and which months were on target based on our prior year goals. And how can we adjust our new goals? Like, did we really overestimate things? Did we overestimate the economy? Where were the missteps last year? And one of the things I always do when I'm creating my goals for the current year is I'm never, ever afraid to adjust those goals, because there's always going to be circumstances that you can't really anticipate. Maybe you have a tough year health-wise, maybe the economy. There's certain things that are going to trip you up. And if you don't pivot, adjust, tweak the numbers as you're going, then it's really can be defeating. So don't be, even though we're setting goals for the next fiscal year, don't be afraid to adjust them. Don't be afraid to admit defeat sometimes, or maybe you've underestimated and your business is going like gangbusters and you've really just set the goals too low. Either of those things can happen. So once you set the goals and you create your little spreadsheet or whatever you're going to do, we have a little spreadsheet we use. Don't be afraid to adjust them. Don't be afraid to change them and reevaluate them. Things change, and that's part of being a business owner, is making those decisions
and making sure that your goals are still in alignment with your personal goals, your family goals, your financial goals, and all of those other things. So, first step in all of this is to review the current software and systems you already have. Is your accounting software doing the job it's supposed to be doing? Is it working for you, or do you find it just to be more of a hassle than it's really worth? It's not true accounting software. You don't have somebody running it who's giving you timely information. They're not responsive. What are your current systems that you're using right now, and are they serving you in your business? Accounting software, the personnel that you have, your employees, the professionals and advisors that you're using, any assistants, any virtual assistants, any marketing assistants. Take a look at your whole operation as a whole, comprehensively. What's working for you? What do you wish you could change? Now's the time to do it, right at the beginning of the year. Let's see what's not serving you, what's holding you back, what should you be delegating? Is it because of the people that you're using and the systems you're using right now? Or is it that you're just not using those people and those systems the way they should be being used? Do you have the right software? You just haven't taken the time to learn how to use it. Or you've got the right software, but the person you have running the software really isn't knowledgeable enough to run it correctly. Do you have the right people and employees, and you're just not delegating to them correctly? So let's evaluate all of it before we get into the actual setting the numbers and setting the goals. Are all of those software and systems that you have, should they be changed? Do there need to be changes before we get into the numbers of it all? And we do that a little bit in the firm. We take a look at the software because everything's improving, things are changing. The software we use for our accounting, for our newsletter, for all of the things, the tools we use, the guides, all of those things that we use within the firm to make our client experience better. We're always reevaluating that. And at the beginning of the year is a great time to kind of look at it as a whole to make sure it's all working cohesively for our firm and for the goals that we're setting. Then, where did you end up for last year? What was your revenue, gross revenue? What was your net profit or loss? What was your taxable income? Because that's a different number too. How much did you pay in taxes? What was your cash flow like? Did you have trouble meeting obligations during the year? Was your cash flow need a little work? Need some help? Were you able to pay yourself enough? Compensation wise, salary wise, benefit wise? Do you have benefits for your business, retirement account, health and dental, those sorts of things? Expense wise, reviewing your expenses. Did you pay too much? Do you think certain expenses were way too high? And then, what are the expenses that you have with your business and in your industry? And then debt. How much debt does your business have? How are you servicing that debt? Is it comfortable? Is it not comfortable? So a review of the last year's numbers includes all of those and more. How many customers did you have? What's your email list like? What products are you offering? What services are you offering? Those sorts of things all are an evaluation of the prior year and questions you should be asking yourself. And look, the numbers, those are the areas you should be looking at before you set your next year's goals. And we do all of that, looking at the accounting numbers, the financials, and looking at all of those certain aspects, looking at it from every angle. And at any point in this whole process of your 2026 goal setting, you should be sitting down with your advisors to help you with that process. Okay? So now, using the 2025 info that you've kind of looked at and evaluated, we can go ahead and look at setting some things up for 2026. So if we know what we made for gross revenue, is that sustainable? Is that enough? What do we want to increase that by for 2026? Percentage-wise, dollar-wise, how much more do we need to make in order to have comfortable growth? What does that entail? Does it entail how many more products do we have to sell? How many customers do we need to reach that increase in revenue? What does that mean overall for the year? How many more customers do we need? How many more customers or products do we need to sell or bring on a monthly basis? So we really, when we're setting our goals for the firm, I look at everything on an annual basis, where I want to be for the next year, and then I kind of chop it up almost and break it down by this translates to X number of clients at an average revenue of X number of dollars per client will get me to this goal. And I know if I need X number of clients, how many clients do I have to bring on each month to reach that revenue goal, if that makes sense. So once you look at the 2025 numbers, set your goals for 2026, how are you going to reach that goal? How far can you break that down into these little bite-sized pieces, saying, okay, I need to go out and I need to bring on 4 new customers a month in order to reach the revenue of X amount by the end of 2026, by the end of the year. So set the revenue goal. Did your cash flow need to be improved? How do I improve cash flow? Well, part of that is going to be bringing on new revenue. Part of that might be paying off debt. Part of that might be reducing certain expenses. Increasing my compensation. How much do I want to get paid for the next year? How much do I want to make for the year? What does that break down monthly? Can I increase that now, or do I want to increase it a little bit now and then in another little bit in 6 months, reevaluate where we're at? Tax planning. Having an active tax plan and strategy for the year is going to reduce your taxable income, reduce your taxes. And without implementing strategies during the whole year, it's going to be difficult to reduce your taxes just at the end of the year. So you need to implement a tax strategy at the beginning of the year and think about that. A debt repayment plan. If you have a lot of debt with your business, what's your repayment plan? How much debt do I have? What is that costing me every month? What can I put towards that cash flow wise to reduce the debt so that I can use that money once the debt is paid off to put towards other things, to increase the infrastructure of the business, to compensate my better employees, compensate me, those sorts of things. Debt repayment plan is important to have. Are you the right entity? Are you the right structure tax-wise? Are you paying more taxes because you're an LLC and maybe you should be an S corporation, or vice versa? Those are things that you should be exploring when you are setting your goals. A reevaluation of your entity and your tax structures. And then the obvious one, reducing expenses, looking at the expenses. We want to reduce our rent. Are we in the right location? Do we even need a location? We're on this platform to sell, but they have really high fees. Maybe you want to transfer over to this other online retail platform that has less fees. What does that mean? Am I going to be reaching the same amount of people? So taking an active look at all of your expenses and making sure that you are actively trying to reduce your expenses, but not sacrificing things by reducing those expenses, if that makes sense. And then lastly, just with your personal life, your business should have an emergency fund. Things come up all the time. So putting money aside in an emergency fund for your business, should you need it, is always a good strategy and a safe strategy to have when you are building your 2026, your future goals for the next year, is to have some sort of emergency fund should you need it. So how do you create the plan? We use our accounting software to create some of it. We have a specialized spreadsheet because we have a model where we have recurring monthly subscription revenue. So we can break down our revenue goals, like I was saying, based on this is going to require us to have X number of clients at this recurring revenue to meet our revenue goals for the next year. So there's going to be different techniques, and your strategy and your technique to set your goals may vary. Some people use vision boards, which is a great visual. Some people use spreadsheets. We use spreadsheets. But your accounting software is really going to be the starting point for all of it. And again, if you don't have a great accounting system or accounting software, you really need, as a business owner, you have to have that. It's critical. It's going to stunt your growth. It's going to take more of your energy to create these sorts of things. And you don't need to recreate the wheel. The accounting has been around for hundreds of centuries. It's been around forever. When people first started commerce, that's when the accounting system started. So don't recreate the wheel. Just use some really good software and make sure that the numbers are accurate by using somebody very qualified to do your numbers for you. So using the accounting software, it has built-in functions like cash flow statements, the budgeting, projections. All of those are built into every single really good accounting software, and you should be using those. To do a budget real quick, it will automatically, most software will automatically take your last year's numbers and create a this year's budget for you. And we recommend doing it monthly. And then go in and plug in. It's going to put all those last year's number in, but we want to increase our revenue. We want to increase this. We want to increase that. So you go in and just increase all of those. And then you want to decrease your expenses. So you're going to put that decrease in all of the expenses for every single month. And then every single month, when your bookkeeping is updated, you can review your budget and see where you're off. It'll usually give you a report that's budget versus actual. So this is the budget you created at the beginning of the year. And then at the end of January, February, March, when you have the real numbers, it'll show you this is what you budgeted, but this is where you really ended up. And that will give you a guideline. When you're first doing this for the first few years, that'll show you how accurate you are and how on target your budget versus actual are, where you ended up for the real live stuff versus where you thought you were going to end up. And you're going to tweak it and you're going to adjust things and you're going to go through this on a monthly or quarterly basis and make adjustments to see if you can hit these goals. Using experts, using advisors for your business, and this may not be practical when you're first starting out, but this should be a goal for every business owner out there, is to have a group of trusted advisors, your CPA, a financial planner, your insurance agent, your banker, social media experts. You should have a team of people helping you who are smarter than you in these areas that can guide you in your business. So when you're creating your tax plan, when you're creating your budgets, when you're creating your goals, having these people help you will go a long way. Creating compensation plans for you, creating a wealth building system, whether it's retirement or, like I said, other means of compensations, having the right business entity, voicing your goals and going over your goals with your advisors. It's going to just make these things happen much quicker for you, and they can imagine things in a way that you never even thought of. And that's what their job is, to help you build wealth, to help you build your business, to pay less taxes, and to compensate yourself and to make your dreams come true. So meeting with your advisors when you're doing all of these goal setting and budgeting and creating the systems, and they're going to have lots of ideas for you to put into place that you couldn't have come up with yourself. And then lastly, maintaining your accounting system. That's an ongoing task you're going to have to deal with every single month, making sure the information in there is good information, making sure it's timely, making sure it's reconciled. And if you have a really solid accounting system, it will be that much easier to make those management decisions that you need for yourself, for the business, for you personally, for your family, because those numbers are going to be the basis for all of those decisions that you make. Making sure that your cash flow is on point. You have an emergency fund. You don't have too much debt. You have staff that's being compensated, that's supporting you, so on. So if you need help with creating your goals for the new year, you can always head over to my website, PamelaHiltonCPA.com, and click the button for a free discovery call. And we can go over how we can help you build your goals and create a budget and goal setting for your business for the new year. Hope all this information was helpful. Like and subscribe. And if you think this information was helpful for one of your business colleagues, share it with them as well. See you next time on Behind the Business.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Business. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with another business owner who could use some real world advice. For free resources, tools, and to submit your own business questions, head on over to my website, PamelaHiltonCPA.com. Until next time, keep building smart and keep looking behind the business.